Good morning, or hello everyone. How are you? Today I'd like to do a gentle warm-up that'll see you staying mostly seated, maybe a little bit of lying down. Perhaps you'd like some blocks or bricks, or a belt. I always think that it's easier to have this at hand than scramble for it afterwards. So you can pause this video if you need to, and then go to get your props and come back. When you are ready, you'll start seated comfortably. I've got a meditation cushion that I'm sitting on, but you could be sitting so that the spine is long and the knees are in line with the hips. Possibly, if this is not comfortable for you, you're going to extend the legs and keep them long. Still elevating so that the spine can stay straight and there's no stress into the hips. Let's start by closing our eyes and centering ourselves. Let's take the palms facing up towards the ceiling, the elbows towards the side of the body, and the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. And as you inhale and as you exhale, notice how you are feeling today. In your mind, maybe you have one or two words that come to you straight away. Notice how you are feeling within your physical body. If you have some stiffness or aches and pains. Or on the other side of the spectrum, perhaps some feeling good in your body that you have to celebrate. Notice your breath too. So that as you inhale and as you exhale, you notice how the breath feels. Notice how far down in your body the breath goes. Collarbones, chest, ribs or belly. And what happens as you release the breath out. After your next exhale, you can slowly open the eyes, bring the gaze back through towards the center, and let's have a little bit of a stretch around. So you can take the opposite crossing of the legs, and then here we'll take the hands to the top of the knees. We're going to take the shoulders right up towards the ears, and then back and down, and again. About 3 will do. Then let's go into the other direction, back and up and forward and down, and back and up and forward and down, and back and up and forward and down. Good. Take the shoulders right up towards the ears, tuck the chin in towards the chest. Inhale, take half a circle in one direction. Exhale, complete your circle. Very important to keep the shoulders right up to the ears. Let's do this once more in this direction. And then twice in the other direction, so reverse the circle. Bring the gaze back up through towards the center. Release the shoulders. And then we're going to take the arms forward. And then we'll take the left hand to the right hand and very gently push the fingers back so you can get a stretch in your wrist as well. Then release, then you're going to take the wrist down. So you're going to push on the fingers as much as feels comfortable. Back through towards the center this time, hand onto the thumb, and you're taking that thumb down. So that keeps the articulations rather oiled up. Let's do this to the other side. So you take the right arm to the left hand, to the fingers at the front, and then you push your fingers back. You might feel a big stretch into the forearm. Back through towards the center and down. Remember also, of course, that as we go along, if there is a pain, then you stop immediately. If there is a discomfort and maybe a little bit of a challenge, then you can explore this, but obviously always safely. And then from this, you can shake those hands about. Feel the energy in your fingers. And let's take the arms out to shoulder height. Turn the palms facing up. Take those fingers towards the shoulders, and then take some little movements here as if you were just trying to take off all your elbows. We're drawing circles and bigger and bigger and bigger circles in the air. And then eventually maybe those elbows will get closer towards one another. And then we'll do this in the other direction. So you go back, make those circles bigger and bigger and bigger. So you start to stretch as well into your shoulders and the chest, and then maybe again bigger and bigger. Good. And then release and just take a couple of breaths to notice the effect that this has had onto your upper body here. Let's inhale and lift the arms up above the head, and then as we exhale we're going to come forward. I'm also going to remove my support that I've got underneath there, and I'm going to bring myself forward, releasing my forehead down. You could separate the legs out if that was a bit more comfortable, keeping your knees up, or simply extend the legs a little bit wider and come forward. Make sure there's no discomfort in your back. Then let's inhale, gaze back up. As you exhale, you're going to turn over towards the right side, so then you pull your body over towards the right knee, releasing the forehead down. Taking a few breaths here, making sure the opposite sitting bone is planted to the floor. Gaze back up, come back through towards the center, then take your spine back through towards the center. Let's do this to the other side. So you take both hands to the outside of the right leg, and then you're going to release yourself over and down. Again, making sure that the opposite sitting bone is down towards the floor, so you may not go so far, but you can release. Slowly and curl yourself back up, and then bring yourself back through towards the center. Let's extend the legs forward and give them a little bit of movement here. Keeping those legs together, taking the left hand behind you, standing tall, right arm to the outside of the left leg, so your pelvis is facing forward. And then from here, from under the rib cage, you're going to turn. So your belly button aims to be staying forward. And then maybe eventually you can just draw a quarter of a circle with your chin towards the left shoulder and be a little bit curious of looking behind you. Gaze back through towards the center. The spine comes back through towards the centre, over to the other side. So again, belly button facing towards the centre, right arm goes behind you, left arm to the outside. Perk yourself up, and then from there, from under the rib cage, we're going to turn the spine, and then taking a quarter of a circle with maybe the chin towards the back shoulder, making sure the neck feels comfortable. Keep breathing. Slowly gaze back through towards the centre. Spine comes back through towards the centre. If you're able to, you're going to bear some weight onto your hands. So you may have the hands behind you with the palms facing forward and the thumbs pointing towards one another at the back of you, or you can come into your fists. If you come into your fists here, that might make it a little bit easier. Bend the knees, and then from here you're going to try to push yourself a little bit up here, so you're in counter tabletop. You can stay here for a few breaths. Now if this is not for you and you're thinking, might just be not as gentle as you think it is, you're going to simply take the arms out, elbows to shoulder height, and then you can push back. In fact, we can all do this now as well, whether you've done the tabletop or not. So you're taking a little bit of a back bend as well. Good, and then come back through towards the centre. From this, we're going to work a little bit more into working balance here. So you can take the hands behind your thighs and hold onto the back of the thighs, relax the shoulders so the neck is in line with the back of the body, and simply just seeing what it feels like to lift one leg and extend it, and then release. Lift the other leg and extend it and release. Now take the right leg up and then take some ankle rolls, and then in the other direction. Too much, release the foot to the floor and do this whilst on the floor. Move to the other side. So again, either here you essentially have to collect your core, which is the front, the side and the back of the body, from the diaphragm all the way to the pubic bone, or you simply have the foot to the floor when you take your ankle rolls, or you've got it here higher up and you're holding there. Good. Here you can hold onto the back of the legs one more. If you can, you're going to lift those legs a little bit and then move the legs and into the knees, so you're shaking your knees about. Again, if that's a little too strong, you're going to take one knee at a time and take some sort of knee crankings in both directions. Now for those hips, let's roll down onto the floor. So you've got some space behind you, you're going to roll all the way down. You may well need your belt here at hand, so make sure that you've got one, and perhaps even a block or a brick underneath the head. You're going to take the right knee in towards the chest and the left knee in towards the chest, and then we're going to take some hip rotations. So you can, as you make those circles away from one another, just keep the circles quite small, or if you can, then taking them slightly bigger. As long as there's no clonking, a little bit of clicking happens. And then in the other direction. Good. And then releasing here, we're going to take the right shin across the left thigh. Take the arms out. It might look the other way on the video, but essentially you're crossing, you're into a figure four, and you're going to allow the knees to roll over to one side, then back through towards the center and over to the other side. And notice the stretches that are happening in your body. Notice where they are. About 3 to 4 times to either side. Come back up. Release the right foot down, recenter yourself. Take the left foot over and across to the right thigh. And then from here, again, you're going to gently release the knees over to one side, back through towards the center, over to the other side. Come back through towards the center, release the legs. Take the soles of the feet together and allow the knees to open wide. Maybe here you can butterfly, so you can take the knees from side to side as if you were a little butterfly starting to fly off. But if it's quite comfortable in your groin to just allow the legs to be opened up, then you can do so too. Hands to the sides of the thighs, press the feet together to bring the legs back towards the center. And then here we shall use our belt. So you can take the belt around the right foot, wherever it feels comfortable. Keep those hands to the lower end of the belt. Keep the other knee up, or you can extend the legs if that's comfortable for your back. And then simply, gently here, allow for a few breaths, so your knee might be bent or not. And then think about the thigh muscle pushing towards the thigh bone and the thigh bone towards the hamstring, so you gently open up. Last but not least, you can push the foot into the belt, you can tip the toes a little bit more in towards yourself. Then slide the left leg in, bend the right knee to release the right foot flat to the floor. Take a breath. Change sides. Again, you can extend the leg or keep the foot flat. Hands to the lower end of the belt so that the shoulders are relaxed. Maybe you can start to gently move the thigh muscles towards the thigh bone and the thigh bone towards the hamstrings. So very gently lengthening into the back of the leg without popping your knee out, if you like, or locking your knee. And then again, pushing the foot into the belt, toes in towards the face. Can you smile here? And are you breathing? Always breathe. And then once you've taken the right leg back to foot flat to the floor, if it's not already there, you're going to bend the knee, release the belt, and then hug those knees briefly in towards the chest. Press the feet flat to the floor. If you have arthritis, you may just want to have the block between your feet. It also helps to keep the knees aligned. You could have the brick between your legs as well. Alternatively, you might not need it. Make sure to keep the big toe mound, the little toe mound, the inner heel and the outer heel. And then you're going to press and lift. And then release. And lift. And release. And so you'll do this just a few more times. When you are done with your 3 to 4 repetitions, you're going to take the knees in towards the chest, rock a little bit on your lower back, and if you want to, you can tuck the chin, hands behind the thighs, and start to rock back and forth a little bit to bring yourself back up to a seated posture. Or you roll over onto your side, very gently tucking the chin and bringing yourself back up to a comfortable seated posture. You may follow this warm-up with any of the other practices that are perhaps another 20 minutes, or you can move on to one of the relaxations. Enjoy. Namaste.